For those of us with gabled vents in our attics, usually there's an attic fan on one side or the other, and at some point that attic fan fails, and so you'll need something like this, the QuietCool. What makes this one special is the easy carrying handle that allows you to go up into the attic and carry it with you. Besides the handle, other features include 15-year warranty, includes an AC plug, 108 watts when you're running it on high, and while it says it has 2 speeds, you have to pick one or the other. Unboxing the unit, we see that it includes a thermostat that you can set between 60 and 120 degrees Fahrenheit. A handsome amount of cord that you can plug in, or you could always cut this end off and hardwire it in, or come direct hardwire off the inside of the box. It is enameled blue, comes with the owner's guide, and this shield which lets you put a barrier around it so that you get more direct airflow. The unit is 17 inches across, 10 inches deep, has a total of 4 flanges for mounting. This one's slightly bent, but that's okay. The side that expels air doesn't have a grid, but the other side does, which is nice, even though you won't have kids or animals up in the attic, hopefully. It's just nice to have that there if you're working around the area and the thing should come on. Besides the power cord and the thermostat, you get some isolating rubber mounts that will go on your flanges to isolate vibration and noise from your house. This unit uses a PSC motor, which means it needs a capacitor to make it work. It's single speed. They do give you an option of 2 speeds, but they're wired, so you either pick the low or the high, and that's it. You can't vary between them. The main advantage of the PSC motor, they're inexpensive. ECM motors won't have the capacitor, are more efficient, but are about 3 times the price of this unit. So if you're looking for a direct replacement, not looking to spend that much money, and it's a fairly reliable product, then there's nothing wrong with getting this unit. Whenever pushing air, things tend to get noisy, so let's see how loud or quiet this unit is. While I don't think this fan is any quieter or louder than what I already have up in the attic, I do notice that there is an electronic hum that I can just hear emitting from it. And at first I thought, well, maybe it's just one of the tabs vibrating against the concrete floor, but it doesn't seem to be that way. I'm going to experiment with just mounting this on something else, isolating it from the floor to see if I still hear that. I moved the attic fan onto this rubber mat, and we're going to plug it in and listen for the initial sound. Besides the strange groaning sound that it makes as it goes to spin up the blades, I notice that the blades themselves are harshly cut, very sharp edges, but not smooth. You can see the transition there is not clean. So, despite its claim that it's made in America, therefore implying that it's a better product, I don't care so much for the craftsmanship. This could have been done better. And you know, that affects the way it cuts into the air. so it could generate more noise, but it's just, I think, indicative of a lower quality. Their logo, a little off center, suffered some damage during shipment. Again, nothing that's going to affect the integrity of the motor, though it's just, sloppy. The finish is powder coated, but as you can see during shipment, it just takes abuse, so it gets marred up. Fortunately, it's going up in an attic and no one's going to see it, but should you happen to get some moisture on it, then that could potentially develop into rust areas. Removing the cover off the thermostat control, we see that if we need to remove the included wire and just directly hardwire into an existing connection, that would be fairly easy to do as everything is capped. According to the directions, this is also where you would go to rewire the unit so it operates at the lower speed. Accessing the inside of the panel is as simple as just pulling the cover away from this one crimped edge on this side. There's a similar one on the other side. And then to close, you're just going to push down on it until it goes past the crimp and it catches. There you see the other one. So that makes it very easy to get access to the box without unmounting it from the wall. And speaking of mounting, you have two places where you can screw into to mount it. Then you'd set the dial to the temperature that would automatically turn it on. I find this interesting. It says built in the USA, which to me means that the whole thing was built here, but the capacitor comes from Mexico, the motor comes from Mexico. That leaves this drum and the cover and the conduit, which don't have any markings on them. So I'm assuming that what they really mean is that it's assembled in the United States. I don't care where it's really assembled. It's just, if you claim one thing, then maybe you should be there all the way. When looking at quality of build, I noticed that you see the paint job here, it's just kind of coming off, so kind of poorly done there. The drum, which forms the outside of the fan, is looks like it's just welded together, which is okay, but you have this sharp edge here, and they could have folded this lip in and smoothed that out. Could have done a number of finishing treatments. Again, I know it's going in an attic, so who cares? Just mentioning it. The hole for the conduit to go through, rough metal. Fortunately, it's conduit, so that's not going to get damaged. When we look how it connects to the motor, it's just pushed on. There's no screw mount or anything to ensure that it won't move in the future and expose the wire. One of the nice things they do is they include a bunch of wood screws so that you can drive your flanges in to the woodwork up in the attic. You'll probably also use some of those screws to secure the baffle, which is corrugated plastic. Another way they mitigate some of the sound is by using soft padding between the motor and the mount. They also include anti-vibration pads for the fins. The QuietCool is up in the attic. Here's the old fan. It's 4.1 amps at 120. That's about almost just under 500 watts. So while these aren't the most efficient fans in the market, this will use a lot less power than this very old fan that it's going to replace. The challenge with this installation is that this is hardwired in to a box. So I either have to create a 110 plug here or just hardwire the new fan. In the original installation, they nailed in the flanges, so I'll have to remove that, and I'm going to just screw in to make it easier for the next person. So this is where we stopped the video because it was just too cramped of a space and too hot, and just too dirty. So I decided just to do the work, and I took a few pictures, and hopefully I can talk you through it. Here I'm simulating what it looked like after I took off the old fan. Upon removing all of the 12 nails, I discovered that the old fan was smaller, measuring 14 inches. This meant that part of the new fan airflow was going to be obstructed. Therefore, I had to remove the left hand board and move it an additional 3 inches, resecure it. Now I was able to attach the fan and have an unobstructed airflow. Make sure before mounting that you attach the anti-vibration pads to the mounting brackets. In an ideal world, you'd use 2 people to mount the fan. I couldn't, which made it that much harder to take care of, but in the end, I did finally get it installed. This is not a final photo. I don't have the final photo. I did get the panels attached, and I dressed the armored cable that's going above so that it was secure to the woodwork. I cut the attached cord to length and attached it to the electrical box. Set the thermostat for just a little over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, applied power, and it worked. For me, the advantage of this product was its lower power consumption, the ability to push more air, and its lower cost. Things I didn't like, blades could have been built better, I thought. Same thing with the finish. Things seemed a little sloppy. And I'm dubious about its built in America claim. It's assembled in America, and that would be a better way of wording it. But overall, I think the product is going to be reliable long term, and it's going to lower my power bill when it's in use. So I think those are wins for the product. Finally, in closing, here's an unscientific way of comparing the sound of the old attic fan to the new one. If you found this useful or interesting, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment. Please subscribe. And as always, thank you ever so much for watching.